Because I thought we were live. Now that we are
We
live, sorry.
so
Now
here
we
we
are
are
live.
live. Aamir, Saad, Josh for our live rant of the week. But we'll be talking about self improvement, mentoring, and coaching. But first, we want to start off with toxic positivity, which can be very, very harmful. And something that we were talking about earlier is you almost can start celebrating failure, and failure then becomes normal.
Yeah.
Because, and I make this example, you'll see somebody post on there like, I just got rejected from my 17th like first round interview, and people will go, don't you worry, the next one yours, your opportunity's around the corner, it wasn't meant for you. And at some point we have to analyze, maybe it's something I'm doing wrong. It's either my resume sucks, um, my interviewing skills are poor, or I'm completely applying for something to which I'm not qualified for. And so at some point we have to say, hey, instead of like saying like, don't worry, your opportunity is around the door, because I could starve before that opportunity like approaches, we should say, hey, let's break down what's not being successful. And I feel
Right.
like that's where we're lacking.
I might be too cynical over here. Maybe a bit, maybe a tad bit too cynical. But let's talk about being straightforward before we talk about toxic positivity. If you
Mm.
believe in something, if you've done it enough times, doesn't matter if whatever somebody's going through, you can say the right thing with such vigor and confidence that they'll buy into it. But if you don't believe in something, if you haven't earned your right to say things, that's when you rely on toxic positivity. Why? When people make comments and posts like these that, oh, I'm going through trouble, etc., etc., guess what they're doing? They're on the defensive. When they're expressing something like that, that's them being on the defensive or them being hurt. So you can do two things at that point. You can gain a follower by be like, yo, it's okay. You can do it. Come, just continue to engage with my post. I'm going to continue to motivate you. Or you don't give a crap and you tell them how it really is. Two things are going to happen. You're going to earn a lifelong follower, or you're going to piss somebody off. The smart people are not going to get pissed off. And I'd rather only talk to smart people. I'd rather only keep people around me that are actually going to put the effort in learning and benefiting themselves. So, AKA, this toxic positivity is actually self serving people who are trying to capture influence and capture clout. Why? They don't have enough to bring to the table. All they bring is motivational fluff.
Marshall's car.
You know, in some ways it reminds me of, and I don't know if this has happened to you too, but like you'll have like something in your teeth or something hanging out of your nose, and nobody will say anything because they don't want to like embarrass you. And finally, somebody will go, "Hey, man, you got
Yeah.
something."
And I'm
And
like,
you're like,
thank you. Yeah.
why didn't
But
somebody, like, I went all day looking dumb? Why didn't somebody say something?
I mean, but there's a huge difference between that. I remember both me and Josh saw a post once where someone, had written that they had, applied to like 500 places and they hadn't received a response. And I'm like, even if you apply to 20 places and you don't receive a response, it's not something wrong with those places.
Yeah.
It's something wrong at your end, and you need to talk to people
Yeah.
who are in the industries, who know about this stuff, and see what advice they have to offer before applying to more of these things.
I actually have something to show you guys. Because so just, Amir, we were talking about this earlier, and you made a joke. I made a comment that ideally I don't want to hire people that have been all stars in leadership, because that tells me that they haven't gone through some stuff. So, and you just made a joke. You were like, "Oh, aren't you an all star?" So I was like, "No, I wasn't. I never was."
Okay. Two things here.
No, no, I know it
So
was a joke.
for
Yeah, I know it was a joke. I'm not calling you out on it, by the way.
I know,
Yeah.
and I wasn't actually joking. I mean, I do think of you as someone, a star is, too, is just a term, right?
It's a bit
Um,
too much, but it's okay.
no, it's a fun term. So
Yeah,
I
I
recall
know. I
two
appreciate it.
two industry leaders. One
Yeah,
is Mark Young of Dooley, who said, "I don't want to hire rock stars and so forth." Right? It was an old post a while ago, and
yeah,
that stuck with me. And the
yeah,
other was Adam J.
yeah,
Hey, if anyone's a ninja, rock star, or
yeah, yeah.
someone, please don't, talk to me.
I remember that.
And I think the intent behind that is, you are yourself, and I'm going to post about this, that
Yeah.
you shouldn't post that you are or show that you are an expert, right? It takes
Yeah.
other people to recognize your expertise. And
Agreed.
so if you say, hey, I'm this ninja, I'm this rock star, uh, I think it kind of makes you look foolish, and I shouldn't be even saying that on LinkedIn Live, but
No, it's fine.
that's what it is.
It's fine. No, so that's exactly it. Is there's a lot of confidence in people that are chaotic. Why? Because they have to put a lot of work in like containing their chaos, in finding the right way to do things. People that have a lot of ideas, what they need is a structure around them to help execute. And guess what? In sales, like people aren't afforded time and structure. So when I was coming up, I was lucky. I will say this: I've genuinely been lucky that I've gotten a chance to work at three companies that have been the category leaders in their space. So that doesn't give me clout. What that gives me is really, and again, I'm lucky to be in this position, really good mentorship. People that have gone through things, that are trying to reach for the stars, but you don't just get up and pop out and hey, I'm going to reach for the stars. You have to learn things. You have to go through things. The biggest thing is startups hire people from big companies. Why? Not because they worked at a big company, but that big company did something strategically that others aren't thinking of doing. I'm not hiring somebody from Salesforce because they work at Salesforce. First of all, I probably am not going to hire anybody for Salesforce. Why? Because if you've only sold Salesforce your entire life, then you're handicapped. Then you don't know what it's like selling that something that's not Salesforce. Your reality is going to crash because the world is not going to know half the products you sell besides Salesforce. But going back to my original point is, um, there's people out there that are sticking to their guns and sticking to their basics. And what are the basics? Now, let me show you something. Can I share my screen on this?
I think it needs, there's a tab down there.
Yeah, I saw it. Okay. So this is back when I was trying to break into
Are you going to share some Julie secrets with us?
no, never. I'm gonna share some of my own
Don't say never.
I'm gonna share some of my own personal. I'm gonna share some. No, I'm not exposing the tips of the trade that easy. But I will share some of my own personal secrets, and by all means, you can take whatever you can from it. But this is not even a secret. Like, this is basically, this is literally the reality of selling, how it should be done. And this is Caroline. She works at PagerDuty, which is a big Canadian company, and she is now a sales director. When I was trying to break into SaaS, this is what I was doing back in the day, right? Still reaching out based on relevance and all that stuff. Now, Caroline, she opened the door for me. She had a chat with me, but this is what she did. She didn't just open the door for me and have a chat with me because I was new. I had never sold SaaS, or I had never sold my entire life. For 2 months, she was coaching me. We're in April right now. This goes on till much later. She was coaching me. She was on calls with me almost every other week. She was teaching me about consultancy and SaaS and how it's different. She connected me to the HR manager, hiring manager. She's teaching me Medic. I didn't even know what Medic was. What is Medic? Right? So there's people out there that have done things this way. And we're in June now. And this entire time, I'm just thinking, I'm like, who are you? Why are you helping me? Why are you doing this for me? Do you have any idea how much of an impact this had on me? And I've mentioned this in my interviews and my stories every single time. Now,
Awesome.
this is what happened. I didn't get the job there. The manager over there thought I was a little less qualified, and she thought I'd be better suited for CS. But that left a lasting impact on me. And every single
Yes.
time I've gone to people, I've tried to teach them, I've tried to coach them. So when I say there's not enough coaches out there, it's an actual fact. There's leaders, there's people thumping their chest, but there's not enough people teaching people how to actually get success. And you can't translate teaching if you have never tried to learn yourself, if you've always been an all-star.
Awesome.
So,
I'm not sure if we get Marcus on today, but I did invite him. But he is one of the most amazing sales coaches out there and leadership coaches. um, and this is what, and you have to learn and absorb before you can actually go out and teach, or even before you can go out and preach.
Yeah.
Josh, for example, I mean, I loved how you said this, Saad, that what's in it for them. There's nothing in it, but the sheer intent of having someone else succeed, and that drives you. And I think that's why I connected to Josh way back. It made an impact, or it didn't. It did. Actually, let me boast a bit. I made him into this brash, crazy teacher who's come on LinkedIn, and he keeps spouting stuff. But hey, but yeah, I mean, I love Josh,
No, but
but
that's what
in
Josh has
fact,
been doing since day one, right? He's been learning. Like I've said this multiple times, and not just for the sake of it. Through You can take so much through secondhand learning. Maybe it's your communities, or you're literally for the last few months, all you were doing was learning from people on your podcast and interviews. I think there's no better way to earn it than that.
I just asked, I just ask questions and listen to the answers. Amir will say that, and I'll agree with him, that sometimes I talk way too much. But I have had to learn the skill of shutting up also, because that's very, very, very important. Because, like right now, as I'm talking, I'm not really learning anything. I might say something like Buddha like, and people be like, "Oh, that's deep and that's awesome," but when your mouth is closed, that's when you learn the most. Nick, so thanks for joining us. We're basically talking about, and we've tied it into it, self-improvement, mentoring, and coaching. And so we started off with talking about how there are some people that are in this, and like we've overused the word echo chamber at this point sometimes, I think, but there's this where and we see it a lot in the transitioning teachers, and this is why sometimes they get mad at me, but they'll go, I went to my 17th interview and I didn't get the job. And so there will be a slew of people that come out of the woodwork, and they will pump you up with the prosperity gospel style. Don't you worry, the next 1 year, this wasn't meant for you. Like, oh, you dodged a bullet on that. And the other person will that failure, and it will become almost like, okay, this is fine, it's okay to fail. And don't get me wrong, it's okay to fail as long as it turns into a learning experience. And so we have to surround ourselves, we have to have people start telling us like, hey, listen, there's a problem, like, let's fix your problem. So and then we talked about, and then we got into surrounding yourself with those that are in leadership that are willing to coach, that are good coaches, which is Saad. He's had a ton of good coaches and mentors, and so that's kind of where we're at this point.
Something you said there, Josh, that I really like. You have to. I mean, a lot of people talk about you either fail or you learn, but that's not necessarily true, because there's a lot of people who are going out there and failing, but then when they fail, they're not doing the hard work of studying why it was that they failed. And so then they get happy ears, and they surround themselves with those people who have that, we're calling it toxic positivity, right? All those people who pump them up and say, oh, just keep trying, just keep trying. Well, if you keep trying and you don't change, you're not going to get different results. So, but the challenge with that is, if you don't have someone who is willing, or if you haven't given them permission to hurt your feelings, you're not going to get that valuable feedback that you need in order to change, so that you stop failing.
And that's where my
But-
despise for sales influencers comes in.
but you don't need to hurt people's feelings, right? If you've got a good friendship or relationship like I had with Josh, for the purposes of live streams, I said, hey, you're going to do a bunch of interviews, so talk less, listen more. And that's straightforward, right? That's not meant as an insult or something, or that Josh talks too much. He does talk too much, by the way, but so, this live stream is meant to be fun. So
Yeah.
So here's the thing. When someone says, I sent out 500 resumes, me and both Josh were like this, God. And you see posts like, please, okay, I'm not going to comment about that. Please send, positivity my way. but how the heck are you going to action that positivity? You need motivation, that's fine, right? But does it develop you in any way? How do you action that, right? Is the main thing. I think Josh has more to say about that.
Well, I don't know. I just think number one, I think it's the same thing that we've mentioned before. It takes somebody to go, hey, let's make a change. Like let's tweak something that you're doing wrong. And then the second part of that is that I have to be willing to listen. So, for example, and this is, like this is an example. I thought I had a great resume, and I shared it with Aaron and I shared it with Amir, and I thought I was going to get laughed at because it really was so bad. Like it had stuff like motivated, driven, and so it took people to go, well, how does that make you special? And I'm like, well, I don't know, jerk, because I am special. That's why. But and then I have to go. Okay, well, let's fix it. What can I do to make it better? And so that's that mentoring aspect. You need people that are willing to mentor, and then.
So there's this other challenge is there's so many people out there who there's a lot of people who have minted themselves as experts and who are giving people a lot of really bad advice too.
That's my favorite topic. That is my favorite topic.
So this is it's terrible because there's people out there who they have the right intangibles, right? They have the motivation, they're open-minded, they want to learn, they're seeking knowledge, but they get plugged into the wrong source of information. They get plugged into all of this noise out there. And then they actually do the hard work of accepting the feedback and going out and trying the thing that someone has told them to do. And yet they've been sold snake oil. And then they actually fail even harder. And then they look at themselves and they're like, oh gosh, there's something wrong with me because I did it my way, that didn't work. I did it this way, it didn't work. I tried this other thing, it didn't work. And so I'm just going to give up.
Let me just butt in here. You literally captured my chaos in the best, most clean kind of manner. That is the issue with the new influencers, the ones that haven't earned their right. So look, the point that I was making on toxic positivity was the influencers who don't know what they're talking about, who only rely on fluff, they pry on these people that are looking for this motivational fluff. That was the actual point. The followings that are growing for people is growing. There's a formula for it. That formula is motivational fluff or whatever you want to call it. But you start targeting and engaging with people that need that. The reality is this. You need to aim for the audience that is 2 years behind you. And organically, that's just what happens. Somebody, if I have 100 connections, if I have 100 followers, I see somebody with 500, I'm going to follow them. I'm going to share, I'm going to listen to them. I'm going to look at their advice. Now, what's going on? Prior to at least September, people are looking at LinkedIn resumes. Feel like now that's not happening anymore. People who are clicking into LinkedIn resume stats and seeing everybody's number breakdown. Feel like that's still not happening anymore as well. And the last thing on that, Jesse, the actual point that I was trying to make is one particular influencer. I saw two things over in a post, and I was like, you don't say that. You just don't say that. You're going to kill somebody with that, which is the first part of that was, I do hear myself. I love hearing myself talk. First part of that was somebody commented on this influencer's post like, hey, what is an advice for a startup strategy? And this influencer's post was land and expand. I was like, the fuck? I was like, first of all, why are you asking this person? He's never worked what you were trying to do. And the response you're getting is land and expand. What the fuck? I'm sorry, this is live, but like actually, what the fuck does that mean?
I was just going to ask, what does that mean?
Thank you. And the
Hey,
second
Jesse.
Hey.
Yeah, I'm gonna shut up now. Sorry, I got
no, but like, is that a saying that people use in like some other context?
No,
like,
no.
Land and expand?
Yeah,
Land and expand it is a legitimate thing, but I think what I'm hearing is that in the context of that question and the person delivering the advice,
that's all that was thrown.
What? Yeah.
That's all that was thrown. So this tells me, and so this is exactly it, right? People are sitting in communities, they're sitting and talking to people, they're getting the secondhand learning, And it's like, okay, cool. I have a new tool to use. I have a new weapon. I have a new line to throw, and it's gonna hit. What does that mean, land and expand? Like genuinely, it's a term. Yeah, I don't know. Like, what does that even mean? Like, if you say these things internally, for example, just in that exact same sense, if your reps are stressed out, just go be a hunter. The fuck does that mean? And the
Do we
third part,
actually want to say what land and expand means for people, or
yeah. So land and
Yeah.
expand is. Oh, sorry, yeah, Jesse, go.
I want to hear, like, what's the real, like,
Yeah.
definition of
So
it?
land and expand purely, simply, is the most basic thing ever. Is when you land a customer, you get more seats in there.
Okay. I was thinking like when you land a job, from marketing, then you want to expand the business. So I'm glad you explained that.
Yeah, no. I feel like
It's a typical sales term, I'd say.
yeah.
Mhm.
yeah?
So,
So another. I mean, Saad, you encapsulated it perfectly. But I mean, for me, this was actually like I worked at a very small startup before, and we didn't really have a go-to-market strategy. And so when we were developing our go-to-market strategy, it really was land and expand, because we wanted to secure big enterprise accounts. And the challenge was, it's like, okay, we're just this little rinky-dink company. No one's ever heard of us. We have no brand. We have no nothing. So how can I go and build a relationship with this customer and do something that's very low risk, but still provides a lot of value to them, and then let them get a taste for how it is to work with us as a company. And then over time, we can grow the amount of business and how we serve them.
Okay.
And it really does. It works really well, because if you say, hey, I'm going to solve this problem for you for a nominal fee or almost free, but it's going to serve as the benchmark for the rest of our relationship. Now you can grow that relationship from that point, versus if you go out and you try and sell the $1 million deal on day one, it's a much higher barrier to entry.
I will add a bit more. What's it called? Maybe a bit more color. I think every startup founder or CEO or VP knows literally that's their first one-on-one strategy. So me saying land and expand is literally me saying go get a customer and then go get
Right.
more seats. Everybody knows they have to do that.
Great
I'm just
point.
adding a bit more color onto it.
Sure.
So even this, I'm not against what you're saying, this, by the way. But if we're talking in real strategic lens, and let's keep it. Maybe I'm way too strategic than I need to be, but like let's keep it. If we are trying to keep it strategic, land and expand works. A lot has to happen before you land and expand. Also, do you have a product that is worth land and expand? Is it a subscription model product? If you're in SaaS, likelihood, yeah. But are you chasing NPS score? Is your business strategy to get 5 seats in a big company? AKA, we landed Well Simple, but we landed Well Simple's B2B segment, which is brand new. Well Simple B2C has millions of users. Well Simple B2B does not. When I tell you we landed Well Simple, you'd be like, whoa, big account, blah, blah, blah. No, we got like 3-4 seats in there. So that is land and expand. But there's a story that comes with it. We will expand them. But like, I'm not like, there's a lot has happened over here in regards to why we did that. If I just package that in generic advice, generic posts and stuff like that, like I'm looking to kill something. Like that's going to get somebody fired.
But that speaks to the bad advice that's being. Okay, here's the thing. Many influencers, the big ones, they've gone ahead and done their thing, right? They've earned the right to be influencers, so to say, and many of them have made their mark in sales and so forth, and which is cool. But what I think is that the 3 lines or so that someone posts is not helpful to the person who tries to then emulate them, because I mean, if you have a course, but that course is probably not going to make me or you or anyone else a millionaire based on that course, because that was applicable to that influencer. No, it is not applicable to the same strategy is not applicable to me.
Well, okay. So this is a point that in this teacher Facebook group. It's a transitioning teacher Facebook group, and this is fairly common. Somebody will come on, any career changer that's coming into new industry, we can like say the same thing for, and they will post something saying like, hey, I want to transition into this, or I'm looking into this, and they will get immediately hit with somebody that goes, yeah, hey man, I'm a career coach, and for $8,000, I can help you. And I said, and so she, and that she asked, is this normal? And I said, unless that person is going to assure you a 500K job, like a super like C-suite, absolutely not. But you have these people just preying on them, and they, yes, it's ignorant to take the deal without doing your research, but sometimes desperate times call for desperate measures.
uh, the same goes for those ISAs that prey on these innocent people who are job seekers.
Yeah.
They promise them jobs, training, and then they take a big cut out of their salaries. And don't be afraid to say that is what I feel. Jesse Ullett or any one of us should be, telling people that. I had a great interaction with someone called Sebastian earlier on. He was saying, "Why have you, singled out two of these companies?" And I said, "Okay, because they have ISAs on board, and people are being harmed by those over the long term. Why do you need to pay a percentage of your salary for 3 years, right? There should be other arrangements. Do this as a recruiting process or something." And the same goes for recruiters. I had a great conversation with someone called Chris Lockhead. He is a very good marketer on LinkedIn. Check him out sometime. And that many, not most, that's a bad word, like many of these influencers just push their agenda and want to sell their wares, and they're just preying on the innocent
Yeah.
is what we feel.
It's that's
um,
exactly what it's become. It's preying on the innocent. And like, let's be very real. What are these influencers? A lot of them actually getting, like, in actuality, they're not getting paid some top dollars. They're not getting paid like, not many are, unless you've started your own business or your own course.
Some of them are,
Yeah,
yeah.
I shouldn't say not many. So yeah, it's interesting. It's
And
very
really quick, I was going to go back to something that Aamir said, just for the listeners. You were mentioning ISAs. So, for anyone who doesn't know what an ISA is, you should be well aware. It's an income share agreement. And it's a predatory, in my opinion, way for certain businesses to offer education and promise you a job. But the way it was done, it was putting a lot of people in a really bad position where you're already hurting for income. You are already trying to find a job, and you go pay somebody who's going to teach you to help you get the skills you need to get that job. And then what happens? They can't help you get a job, and you're stuck paying them back anyway. And so, I think it's important that we point it out, because there may be some listeners who are listening to us, looking at us like we're gurus and experts, and we know what we're talking about. So, that might be the most important thing we say all day is, if you're going to sign an agreement like an ISA, do a little bit more homework. And Aamir, you probably know way more about ISAs than I do, because you were in all those chats, going in and out with so many people who've been harmed by them. Like, what would you
J-
add?
Jesse, uh, Jesse started that. I agree,
Mhm.
because it's. I mean, India also has a fair share of companies that have started these ISAs,
I
because
didn't know
they
that.
get these companies from the US and all, because labor's cheaper here, obviously, and they'll promise you a fair salary. Much more than what they get paid in India, and again, that's based on an ISA. So like 20% just goes towards paying of those things, and if you can't pay, tough luck. You get sued, like what happened with all of
Exactly.
these poor people.
Well, they had like the one company, it's like they fine print it. And so they'll be like, they prey on people that are really like low wage, like many teachers, and then they'll go, hey, we can help you get a 80K at your job. And then as you read through it, in the very bottom will say, but you might only get a 40K job too. And so then you find, but and then you still have to pay your 12% of your, because, and there's a huge difference. 12% is too much. But, they get stuck on this. They don't even see. So they get these like hazy eyed about the money that they could potentially make. And what they do is they land a 40K job and they're broke again.
You know how painful that is? 12% is the commission majority AEs take. So you're basically giving up your full commission just to work a shitty base. That
Um,
that breaks my brain.
Yeah, it breaks my
let's
heart.
totally. Let's change the topic slightly towards self-development.
ISAs were getting depressing. ISAs was getting depressing.
Not
You
depressing.
gotta watch out for these gurus, man. They'll take advantage of you.
Everybody got real sad. They're all,
I'm sorry. I'm on the
Real
line
quick
right now, so
before
like I
we-
just had to call that out. ISAs got depressing.
Yeah,
It's
real quick
depressing.
before
It's
we
a sad thing.
change topics. So we were talking a little bit about these influencers, the gurus. There's something I can't remember if we've talked about this in the past, but I think one of the biggest challenges is there's those people out there who 80% of what they say is true, right? And it's that remaining 20%, which is what's false. And that's what I think screws a lot of people over, is because there's people who actually have gone out and been successful, but maybe it was under certain circumstances, or maybe they've learned from someone who's successful. And so what they're putting out there, part of the reason I think that they're gaining an audience is because some percentage of what they're putting out is true, which makes it alluring and it attracts people, but it's the finer details that are missing, and it's the lack of nuance, which I think people see this stuff and then they're like, oh, well, that should just automatically apply to me. So I don't know if you
It
guys have
doesn't.
any thoughts
Yeah.
about that.
so it's
Uh,
almost like as long as one person wins the lottery at some point, it may then
That's a good
they
point.
can justifiably say you have a chance of winning. And they rake in billions. And yes, occasionally somebody does win.
That's a very good analogy.
I agree.
Yeah.
What's even funnier is the people who have done absolutely nothing and are leading the charge these days. And I'm like, okay, everyone's an influencer now. So, Jesse, let's have a fun convo for a second. I love how you turned Dave, was it, into a guru, and he was like, "No, I'm not a guru," and I absolutely loved that. Right? People won't say they are the experts, even though they are, and that speaks to their, knowledge and modesty. I mean, no one will say, "Hey, I'm an expert." And if someone does say that on their LinkedIn title, which I'm going to post about, who made you the expert? Are you a self-made expert, or Saad here's an expert, Nick's an expert, Jesse is an expert, but they don't self-style themselves as experts, right?
The day
That's
I
the
start
worst part.
posting motivational stuff, I won't call myself an expert, but you'll know Saad is like eating his own cake.
Well,
So no
okay.
Dolly Parton memes.
So it is very likely every year before the school year starts, they will force all of us to go into an auditorium. Every teacher and administrator go into this auditorium, and some person will walk on stage and give this motivational talk about there's going to be challenging kids, but they just need somebody to reach them, and like you're a teacher, and like they eat it up, and they pay this person who's never been a teacher, who's never taught, just spewing this motivational. People are eating it up, and like they make.
Let me know if they do Zoom or something, Josh.
That sounds a lot like SKO for a lot of places too.
And guess who's doing the SKOs? The CRO, who's nowhere near the sales team. So, hey, I don't know. Sorry.
How many places? I mean, that's a thing too. Like so many places they give you motivation. Like all they know how to do is motivate you, because to Saad's point earlier, they don't actually know how to coach you on the hard skills of actually doing the job.
Steve Schmidt made a great post yesterday, and luckily it had to do with my company. So Dooley posted an article about what do sellers actually need. And he added a line. He was like, I agree with everything Dooley said, but I want to add that there's a different
0.7.
Yeah, 0.7 coaching. Training is showing people how to use your tech stack. Coaching is telling them how to sell. Coaching is you making 5 of you. So I'm going to give myself a pat on the back right now. And like, yeah, I'm full of myself for that. But yeah, that's exactly what I try to do.
Well, that's because he is willing to learn and be coached. And because he's had numerous times where he's been either on podcast or
Yeah.
live, and he'll talk about like the time that he was, spent with Refine Labs and other places, going, why do you do this the way that you do that has made you successful? So
Yeah.
he finds these people, these groups, companies that are successful, and he goes and he learns. And so that's what, makes him
Great
such
point.
a, yeah. I
That's so
mean,
important. Like you have to be coachable.
Yeah.
Like I've come across so many salespeople. It's just like they have their process down. It worked for them for the last 5 years, and they're not going to change it. And if you want to suggest that they, go learn something, then like you're the bad one because you know what I mean. So it's like, Josh, that was an excellent point. Like I couldn't have said it better. Like you have to be coachable.
it's hold on a second, and I'll start reciting poetry in
Please,
just a
please do.
second.
No,
No,
Is it
you
easy
can
poetry?
absolutely.
I'll narrate
Poetry,
it.
songs, everything's welcome here. So about coaching, I had a chat with the excellent and amazing Marcus Kauke, and he is one of the most brilliant salespeople. Me and Saad keep talking about um, how good stuff, good content gets so little interaction, and I made a post about that today. Fluff gets a lot of motivational posts, fake posts, memes, all of them get a lot of interaction, whereas the real people don't get that interaction or follow, which is fine actually. Groups like us interact, for example. So the point Marcus was making about coaching, so even if 7% of improvement can be done in a managerial sense, it means billions and billions of dollar in revenue amounts. But companies are still not willing to invest in coaching, which is amazing. And Marcus, I mean, if Marcus Kauke, just go and follow him if anyone's watching. He's one of the best, leadership coaches out there and sales coaches. Um, the, and he makes so much sense. All of his posts and everything about coaching that Jesse, to your point, you have to be coachable, but you can be taught, is what Marcus said. No one comes born smart, or all of these things are teachable traits, and if you have the willingness to learn. And he also made a great comment about bullies in management. He wrote a post about that too. Bullying does not work. It just makes you less of a person. And if you can't be taught, just you're going to be unsuccessful as a person, very likely.
And it just shows that you're insecure. Like if you have to bully to get ahead, you know, the people who are not being bullied, who are watching it on the outside, we see that you're the problem and it makes you look really bad. So just stop bullying.
I want to add something to that. Is I think the problem is actually so far gone, aka the real reason why the hiring and firing model exists is because I can't speak for the whole industry, but at least a lot of the people that I'll share a secret with y'all. People say don't hold grudges. I owe all my success to a bullseye in the back of my head for bad managers who
Mm.
I left them because they were stepping on my success.
Yes,
They were benefiting from my success.
I'm with you.
Well, I mean, I would say that's just advocating for yourself. Like, you always have to advocate for yourself,
Yeah.
because there's always going to be somebody that wants to take advantage of you for their own personal gain. And I think for those of us that are here, I think we sound like, to us, that sounds like terrible, because like you have to be okay with hurting people in order to be willing to like profit off of it.
I look, there's a fine line between overconfidence and self-confidence, overconfidence, ego. So uh, there's a social science theory about the id identity, the external identity that you have, and the identity that you actually create. The first part of your identity is who you think of yourself to be. Second part of your identity is who others think of you to be. And the actual identity that you formulate or you formulate throughout your life is there's a middle point into it. That's where imposter syndrome comes in. You know you're good. Your gut instinct tells you you're good, but everything external pressure or people outside of you are actually it's not that they're saying you're wrong, but you go into an organization, they hired you because you're good, and all of a sudden you see, whoa, holy shit, the level here is intense, and imposter syndrome comes in. Now your id is struggling. Your id is like, wait, I thought I was here, I'm not really. So the best thing you can do is shut up and learn, and then let your confidence come back up, so your id reforms itself into this new identity that need to be a part of. Sales leaders fail when they come in hot. They go into new companies and they're like, you know what, I'm gonna do this. No, dude, like, who are you? We've been here 6 months. Do you know any idea about the culture of your organization? Sure, you're not wrong, but you need to build this for this company. The execution will be different. The idea could be the same. The execution will be 200% different. So the point that I was trying to make earlier, that the problem is far gone, is majority industries and companies have hired these top sellers, these top leaders who aren't coaches. And how much these people are, what, in the 30s, 40s, 50s, they've lived their entire life. Their success is based on what the idea that you created that they are. And now you're gonna ask them to basically go coach yourself or manage yourself, or go build up how you're going to coach people. No, the problem is too far gone. So I'm going to say something.
Great point. Can I please add, since you brought up a really excellent point about when you come into a company, don't come in so headstrong. And, like we all want to, because we feel like we need to prove ourselves, but really there's really value in closing your mouth and opening your ears, because if you're lucky, not only will you be accepted into the culture, but you will learn something and people will appreciate you because of it. So that's an excellent point.
Yeah, thank you.
Agree. Josh, and to your earlier point about people hurting, leaders hurting people, I don't think they realize that. For a lot of organizations, disruptive behavior or bad behavior is rewarded, so to say, and some people just don't realize that their behavior is bad, in sales or in marketing or in other teams, right? Even if there was a lot of toxic culture going on in marketing. See the series Mad Men, and it was just a weird, different world. The same thing was for sales. It's changing for the better, these days. Diversity, more women in the boardroom, more, But earlier it wasn't the case, and I don't think people even realized that they were hurtful or mean. That was just culture, so to say.
So when and to what extent, when we know somebody is spreading misinformation at best, how do you call them out? And so we have an example of the ISAs people went after and publicly shamed, but then there was a situation where there was this drama of accusing somebody of copycatting them, and so at what point do we call somebody out that we think is being dishonest, but do it in such a way that it's at least professional enough not to get you fired?
How can that be professional? I mean, is it in the community sense, Josh?
Yeah, but I don't I don't want to name and shame while we're on this, so I don't want to.
Yeah, let's not name and shame, but we
Yeah.
can
Are you talking about me?
No.
I'm just kidding.
No.
That's the best way to be humble. That's the best.
Yeah.
Best form of
Well,
humility.
okay. So here's a primary example. If I'm just pumping up fluff, as in certain communities where we just give blatantly bad information, it goes back to, oh, don't worry, you lost out on your 25th interview, don't worry, there's another, at what point do we say stop talking, stop saying stuff?
If it's an individual, do you really want to help them if they don't want to be helped, is what I'll say, because I stopped that after a while. If people don't want to listen, I mean, you were the first teacher that I interacted with on LinkedIn and then started helping others. But I had some bad interactions, and after which I was I raised my hand. Okay, people are headstrong. Some want to do their own stuff. So fine, do it your way. I might offer a bit of Sarah Reddy. She's amazing. She listens to advice. What I loved about our conversation the other day? She said, I don't understand what everyone's saying, especially Ricky, or when someone speaks sales talk. but I love to be a fly on the wall and listen in and keep learning, and that's how I'll get to be successful with you people. And that's amazing, right?
Absolutely.
When you want to learn, that's how you learn, rather than
You should never stop doing that either. Like, even though I've been in B2B SaaS since 2014, I still love being a fly on the wall because I always
yes.
pick up things. Like
Yeah.
at BDEX, there's only 10 of us, so I'm the only marketer. Most people are technical. So when I'm a fly on the wall, they're like teaching me so many things. So it really shouldn't stop.
That's the same like for so not the same for so I my imposter syndrome is I've only been in B2B SaaS since 2019. I was only in IC for 2 years. And I like not to toot my own horn, but I broke into management after having only been in IC for 2 years. You tell somebody that you like people would look down on you, like that's just a fact. But the reality in there is a you need to be really stuck to your morals and know what you can talk about and be confident in. So regardless of who comes at you, no, this is what I've done. This is what I continue to do.
Mm-hmm.
Literally.
So two things there, Sad. As Eric, Steve, and Eddie say, don't say only and just about yourself, because you're far more than that. It's because of your hard work that you are where you are. It's as simple as that. And
I
that's
think
again a motivational post, by the way.
I was gonna
So
say I think Eric should post that and see how many people are like, yeah.
No, but I'm sharing a fact. I go through that like genuinely. I go through it every single day.
every one of us has that.
Yeah.
And here's another thing: I'm not in sales, right? But I love aggravating the sales people like you, and
I know you
in the
do. I
group.
know you do.
So discovery, but you know what? I never post about sales as if I know sales. I'll ask questions, or share others' opinions and say, hey, what do you think about this, and how can I improve? And I already learned a lot in sales, enough to be a VP of sales somewhere. If you're hiring a Julie or somewhere, just let me know.
I'll message Michelle. I'll message Michelle. I'll be like, boss, we have one.
I just feel like Amir would be the type, like he'd buy some snakeskin boots and like sling them up on the desk, smoking a cigar. Be like, Saad, since I'm your boss,
So okay, let's go back to that. So we were talking about education, Jesse, and learning, being a fly on the wall. Reason
Hey,
why
Sarah. Sarah's in the comments. Come join us, Sarah.
yeah, why are
Just
she
spoke about you.
so the reason why I personally love working where I work is um I'm very close to the marketing team and I'm
Mm,
learning a lot from them. It's not just that I'm learning a lot from them, my learnings are guiding their motion as well. So
yeah.
now I came to a company that has one of the best marketing teams ever. And I, based on my learnings and my experiences, I'm able to bring something to the table. There's still, and there's such a humble thought exchange every single day that even marketing, as great as they are, they're like, hey, all we know is we don't know enough. So, like, you're on the
Yep.
selling side, we're on
That's
the
why they're a good marketing team.
yes. How do we bring this together? Every single day, there's a conversation about how do we bring this together. We don't need engagement. Engagement is great, but how does this engagement convert? We don't need motivation, but how does this motivation get somebody to go like, okay, Dooley, why are you saying this? What have you done internally? So before we start talking shit, lack of better words, we need to make sure that we're drinking our own Kool-Aid. Product comes after. People aren't talking to me because Dooley's a great product. People are talking to Dooley because Dooley has Michelle, Dooley has Mark, Dooley has Camille, Dooley has all
Julia
these.
Saad, let's be serious.
Julia Saad.
Thank you.
Saad's a star.
But no, even then, so is because of that exact same thing. Is I'll work with people. I buy from people I trust. Mark can go anywhere tomorrow. I will message him. I'm like, hey, Mark, I trust you. Is there anything here for me? Michelle can go anywhere tomorrow. I will 200% message her because I trust how she sells her process. Like, hey, Michelle, is there something here for me?
Are,
That's
are
what
you are you leaving, Julie?
no. Just generally, like, it's the one thing.
I'm joking.
No. So I'll tell you a trade secret over here. When I get new hires, the first thing I tell them is this. I'm like, look, I'll tell you something. You're not going to be here for your life. I'm not going to be here for the rest of my life. I'm going to build you for your career, not just for Dooley.
Mm. I just got chills when you said that, Saad. That's powerful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So
Amazing.
Nick, so we can like when you're talking about we like Dooley because we like the people that are there. For example, like there's Saad, there's like Julie's an example. People like Julie, they go, I wonder where Julie works. and then it brings those viewers. And then Nick has been experimenting with his TikTok lately, which is starting to set like him apart from other people because he has a very short, it's easy, sometimes it's easier to watch a video, little 15-30 seconds, it's kind of cute and still has relevance. It's not, sometimes LinkedIn is really serious, like really serious, and it can be a little overwhelming sometimes. So it's, you know, TikTok videos, and then we see pictures of dogs, and which has this huge engagement.
And which is fine, right? But when you post the motivational stuff, and here's a great example, James, for example, what James Perry posts is value added, um, but people don't understand that, right? It's deep stuff at times. He's been there and he's done that, is what I'll say. Um, the problem is when other people try and emulate that thing. Not just that. I mean, there are many influencers. Not names, but okay, fine with names as well. There's Gary. There's Simon. They'll post one or two liners that are motivational, but if you try and do the same thing, but you're not even in that space yet. You're not been there, done that, not interacted with a ton of people in the industry. So what you are doing is you're just sharing your own individual expertise, which might not even be relevant to the space or that you are in. For example, talking about Nick right now, I love the videos he does. They are short, to the point, great content. And we all know Will does great content. Todd Clauser does that, and there's Chris Van Prague, and a couple others who do really good content as well. So those are the people for short form content. Chris Walker does great long form content, but all of these people, including Nick, know what they're doing. For example, Jessie is getting into TikTok, and she talks about um, great with her songs, and she's been talking about marketing and all the new fangled stuff. And I really love. Is it for everyone? No, I possibly couldn't do it. But those who have that aptitude, that technique, it's just amazing what they do. Jesse.
By the way, I've got a Alicia Keys parody in the works, so stay tuned, everybody. I'm going to be singing about gurus.
Fire.
I'm in Chicago right now, so I don't have the piano, so I'm a little behind.
Jesse, I don't think you know this, but you're on something. Like, actually, this is why I'll say. So people are afraid of TikTok because they think they need to go dance and make funny videos. No. So do you all know how TikTok actually came to be? TikTok was created, obviously we all know it was created in China, but it was created by a researcher who wanted to create an algorithm for his own research purposes. His algorithm was so powerful. All of these social media algorithms are based on creating a reality for you. But the TikTok algorithm was designed to be so powerful that you can actually educate yourself and become somebody based on that algorithm's education. That's how China is using it literally right now, purely for education purposes. So to get it out, China started recording those TikTok music videos and all that stuff that seeped into India and Pakistan, and that started getting picked up by North America. So TikTok was way bigger in India and Pakistan before it was here.
Right.
And then China completely switched that side off because originally that research that built TikTok, now they're actually using it for that purpose. And now in North America, that purpose is starting to get realized, which is the power of the algorithm. I see why are Chris Walker, Refine Labs, and all these people doing this? They're not doing this to entertain people. More and more sellers, everybody in all walks of life, are going to TikTok and realizing that the algorithm is so powerful that I can actually start learning here. Now, majority of the industry has not realized that there is an opportunity over there. There's still first mover advantage. What is first mover advantage? Like for all marketers out here, is you literally just jump onto something before the masses do. The first mover advantage also starts with celebrities. Guess what's happening with TikTok? Celebrities have maxed it out, and now it's starting to become its own thing for the masses. I'm seeing more and more sales leaders every single day posting basic educational content in TikTok. It's not funny, it's not entertaining, it's educational, and guess what? It's converting. Guess why it's converting? Because not many are doing it. So that
So
might sales.
so here's the thing. B2B and B2C reach on TikTok is amazing these days, and those, as you said, it's the first mover advantage, and those who realize it are just going to, have that. It was just like on LinkedIn. Those who posted 2 years ago have the advantage right now. By the way, hi Julie, I know you're watching. Josh just mentioned you about, about how cool you are and how amazing and all the motivational stuff that you do. Saad, any words for Julie? She's listening in.
Julie's the best. Schoolie with Julie at 10 people.
Okay, hold
Get
on.
up,
I didn't
put up Schoolie with
say
Julie for
all
Julie.
that because here's the thing: everybody pumps Julie up so much. I'm afraid that she's going to become a monster of an ego, and so I think we need to tear her down to
That's
keep.
impossible.
No.
She's like not the type of person you can tear down. It just doesn't work.
No. Sarah, we were just mentioning you as well. That,
Oh. Yeah, but now that you're here, we're not going to say anything.
What did
No,
Josh
we-
say? What did Josh say?
Yeah. See, I get blamed for everything. Woe is me.
Hey, by the way, real quick, can I give Josh a plug? Because here we are talking about all these experts and these gurus who are out there posting stuff that they have no experience doing. And like Josh is a transitioning teacher. He's not on LinkedIn posting about teaching. He's also not on LinkedIn as much posting about marketing and content that he's helping us with. He's posting about his real life stuff, and he's doing it exactly the way a non-guru should do. So if you are out there and you are not an expert in the field where you're planning to go, watch and follow Josh Morgan because he will teach you.
I have a lot of respect for. I've said this a million times. Maybe it's a beaten drum. The way you're doing it is the most organic, the most real, the most powerful way to do it.
I'm the Jesse Outlet method, and I'm gonna monetize my my case study.
You're about to start going on tirades against teachers, aren't you? That's what's about to happen. That's what's gonna sell.
Well, sometimes hate gets you engagement too. But no, Jesse, I appreciate that. Honestly, it's just I'm curious and I ask a lot of questions, and like that's really. I mean, I don't.
You do ask really good questions. Sometimes you put me on the spot, and I'm like, I don't know.
Do you ask questions, Josh? I thought you talked all
okay, I have to like full disclosure here. Okay. So full disclosure, because when I realized that I wanted to change who my own tribe, my own like community, who was really could drive me for success, I wanted to have those that were successful where I wanted to be. And so, but I didn't quite know how to start like my post to reflect that change. So my first, I don't know, half dozen posts, I like message like Tom and Eric and several other people and go, hey, here's what I'm thinking of a post. How do I word this? Like, what language should I use? And so I got a lot of help until I could, and also learning. Once you start learning how things generally work, at least you have some, like, you're just not talking out of your ass. You know what I mean? So that's really like, and then here I am.
Yeah, like if you're not a guru and you're not an expert, all you have to do is think, what did I learn today? And make a post about that. It doesn't have to be marketing related, So it's just, Josh does an excellent job of that.
Well,
So the formula should be, this is you're writing for people. Let's say if you're level 3, you're writing for people that are at level 1. So your job is not to tell people how great you're at level 3. Your job is to show people and teach them how you got to level 3, aka not go get them Tiger. Tell them how you got it, Tiger.
Yeah, great point, Saad.
And here's another thing. An influencer posting about, here's how we're going to make millions. Really, dude, 99% of people are not even going to get to 10K with your methods. I mean, not going to happen. And here's the thing. Subject matter expertise is what Saad was saying. Jesse, I love Jesse's post about, first party data. Anyone can be associative as well, right? When Jesse talks marketing, people will listen because she knows her stuff. And by the way, she knows much more. Here's a plug for Jesse as well. She knows so much about marketing and associated things, and she's not limited herself to a niche. She knows everything about SEO or this or that, and her domain expertise is amazing. And I'm saying this on the basis of daily conversations. And she is no guru. She never says she's an expert. She just goes out and crushes it, and that's the way to be.
Thank you so much, Amir. That was so nice. And like, if I ever call myself a guru or expert, like, please slap me, because at that point, once I do, that's the point when I stop growing. Because once I think I know it all, then I'm not going to be coachable anymore. So I hope that I'm like never a guru and I continue to learn for the rest of my life.
Well, I think
I don't think that's going to happen with this bunch of
No.
people, because we are curious. And the term that I heard somewhere was we are hungry for knowledge. I didn't know anything about sales 6 months ago when I started posting on LinkedIn. For some reason I got in with the sales punch, and now I am a VP of sales anywhere. So it's as simple as that.
Salespeople are fun. Let's be honest. Like, especially the salespeople we hang out with, who are like, the top 1%.
Amazing.
So
Amazing.
fun. Yes.
Well, and in some ways, it's because of the vulnerability that we're starting to see. It's just different. People sometimes like things that are different. So everything was at some point, it's this trend where LinkedIn and certain socials are very professional by nature. And then you have like Nick and Jesse coming in that are still like, it's still knowledgeable in the space that they're in, but it's like it takes a lot to make a video of yourself and like show it to millions of people, open up for criticism. Because so when you make like Jesse gets on there and is singing, and there's a lot of haters
Yes.
there in the world that like to hate, because there's like somebody just waiting for somebody like Jesse to come along. Is a beautiful singer, but they're gonna go, you suck. So you have to be willing to like, okay. So,
But look past the trolls.
Yeah.
Looking past the trolls is another thing, and I think that's a mindset thing more than anything. Now, Saad gets really aggravated when anyone talks to him about anything that he doesn't agree with. But hey, Saad, you got to calm down, my friend. I'm just
I
joking.
get passionate. Not angry. I get passionate.
Well, that's because he'll start to he'll go, no. It's like he wants, like his brain is moving faster than.
So in a dark social group, me and Saad were talking today, and he was like, no, and I could imagine him walking around the room.
I literally, while I was
and-
shouting,
no, you're wrong.
walking around my little condo. I was literally like, my brain was like kicks into gear. I was like, all right, like education.
So the good thing is, when you learn to ignore the trolls, because I see a lot of those on YouTube. Someone might post excellent content, but just for the sheer spitefulness of it, people will post those annoying, content or comments that are just hateful and spiteful. Learn to ignore those or delete those, because you got to have a thick skin when you're actually posting content on these spaces.
But also believe in your values and morals, because that's the difference between being an influencer and being somebody who's actually like, if we talk about earning your whatever, because if you're earning your clout, then you're also earning your opinions based on experiences. So when
I have a fun comment about that, Saad. I mean, believe in yourself, but don't get too pumped up like many of those, in the LinkedIn space who are so pumped up with their own ego and, hey, I know everything kind of stuff. Then you just won't learn.
I'll share something on that point over here. I think LinkedIn is too nice. I think people shut up quite easily, or I shouldn't say shut up, but like so there's two sides to that coin, right?
Agreeable. Everybody's just agreeing with each other.
Yeah, exactly. Why?
And then like if you come in with another like argument or like a perspective, they're like, oh, you're mean.
Yeah. So for example, the example that I was giving, we were talking earlier about the post Andrew Willen made, and you were just Aamir, you thought that I was being whatever. He literally gave me kudos on the outreach, because that's exactly how you social sell. When somebody opens the door, when somebody like touches you, go jump on that. I'm not here for clout. I'm here to make money. I will be very straightforward on that. But the way I want to do it, the way I try to do it, like it's different. If I'm not confident in why I'm different, then there's a big issue with with how I'm leading. Because my way of being selfish is by being selfless. When like the way I carry myself, it could easily come across as brandish. but then talk to the people internally, how I coach them, how I manage them, how I work with them. One thing in my vocabulary is that you're never going to hear is Daniel. He said this to me the other day. He was like, something you said really sticks out. I was like, what? He's like, you never say my reps work for me. You say your reps work with you.
That's amazing, Saad. Because see, here's a very big pet peeve of mine. When people say I am hiring someone to work for me, it gets me. This person works for me. That's servant slash dominating sort of mentality, and I would never want to work for people. I want to work with people.
Yeah.
And if anyone's listening, leadership coaching 101, just don't do that. It's nuts.
Leadership coaching is also managing your insecurities, because your job as a leader to find people better than you. you, I don't
No,
need someone to follow
it
you.
depends. I'll say it depends, because it also is about strategy. Beyond a point,
Yeah.
your job is strategy, right? And you have people to execute on that strategy for you, but they don't work for you. You're paying them to do something. They're working hard to do that something, and they are not your servants.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
No, I fully agree with you. And just to close the loop on this point is, look, it's very easy to fall into the generics of things that, hey, don't be confident, don't say things, etc., etc. But if we just take a step back, and Aamir, you know me, like I've never changed my tone on this, is when I started talking about this fluff thing in like back in January, everybody was like, no, it has a place, it has a place, it has a place. Consistently, the room has all of a sudden turned. Not saying that not saying that people are saying cut the fluff or whatever, but like your strategic stuff is like not getting as much engagement anymore. So now it's starting to hurt people. That now it's starting to hurt you as an individual. Before, when it was just supporting your friends, now it's hurting your business. So for me, why am I so hard on this? Is because we do a lot of social selling. This changes in algorithm and a lot of stuff. Of course, it's hurting my inbounds. It's also hurting my outbounds. So yes, I have an issue. Yes, I have an ego right now, because like, yo, my money is getting taken away because the algorithm is not even showing my stuff anymore. So it's not on people. It's on the idea of whatever that's going on out there.
But why don't you post fluffy pieces, Saad, and you'll get a lot of hits?
I'm never going. I just never will. I just know.
I think and then I want to ask Sarah what she's been up to lately, but I think some fluff is okay. And for example, to me, fluff is entertainment, makes you feel good, And so Todd, we all bandwagon on Todd because he's a cool guy and he just he takes movie clips. So he has this entertaining, it's kind of fluff. But
I think it's strategic. No, I disagree.
Oh,
I
no,
don't call that fluff.
Disagree. That's not fluff.
So
yeah, I don't think that's
because
fluff
of
either.
the entertainment value, it makes you want to watch. Like
that's their business model. That's Refine Labs' business model.
Todd is waging psychological warfare.
He is.
People,
he got you. He got you.
Just for the record, that's Todd Clouser. If anybody wants to follow him, last name Clouser.
Yeah.
All right, Sarah.
Probably my favorite follow because he is so entertaining.
I agree.
He's awesome.
What is Sarah, awesome. What is new since last week for you?
Are you asking about the Easter eggs I was just coloring, or are you talking about work? What are you asking?
Either or. What's new in your life?
Well, it's at least it's testing time, so you know what that means. So I'm still recovering from Whiskey Wednesday, if I'm being totally honest.
Same.
That was okay. I mean, but so much fun. But yeah, I'm not 21 anymore. I can't stay up.
I know, right?
Right? Yeah. So trying to soak. I like my role as being. I like being a fly on the wall. I like having kind of these side conversations and just like learning. So I've been really kind of ramping up, really talking just a lot to people, but more just asking questions and learning, and I have so much to learn, and but it's like I'm good. I'm good with that, like, so being the fly on the wall, just hearing as much as I can. There's so much there. Speaking of all the content on LinkedIn, there is so much good content for someone who is new to that game like me, and it's in every direction. So it's a little overwhelming sometimes, but
how do you tie that in for yourself, Sarah? For somebody who's actually looking to learn, who's benefiting from it, How
Yeah.
do you cut out the noise? Like,
For me, it's asking people that I trust, like where should I be going? And so people in here, give that feedback on, listen, this is who you need to talk to. This is who you should be listening to. And so that helps me. And I'm appreciative of that, because otherwise I would be feeling running in circles, And so
I'm
trying.
pumped up and grinning.
Oh, well, I mean, it's really from you. I know you don't like to be called out on that and like shout it out, but really, like, you've been super supportive and helpful. Like, hey, stop listening here. This is who you should be talking to. Do that. And I say, yes, and
And there's a reason why I mentioned you, right? You said you're a fly on the wall. You love to listen, even though you don't know stuff. Um, and here's the thing: with some experience, with some networking, I know the people that you need to know. And if you're genuinely interested in doing something, we try everything in our power to help. Is what I'll say. And that and I didn't mean to interrupt you as well, Sarah. I know you're speaking. Hey, no, these people, all of them are talking privately about me, and I'm not a coach. I mean, I'm not going to be a coach, or and I'm not motivational, by the way. Just
a
saying.
little bit, kind of. You work. So that's what I've been doing.
Before we end. Sorry, Sarah, go on. I apologize.
No, that's what I was just gonna say. That's it. That's kind of where I'm at. Just listening to all of you and taking in, but getting excited about it too. So yeah, that's it.
One word for Julie again. Saad, what do you think of Julie and her content? Is it fluff? Is it motivational? She just asked me on LinkedIn, and I'm like, let me ask.
I haven't seen her stuff recently, so I can't comment. So.
She's like an energetic, like truth bombing cheerleader, is because her positive energy, like it's like you read her stuff and it's like she loves life, like that.
I'll share the story. So I don't know if she's still listening, but
she is.
The week she got hired, the week before she got hired, I started seeing her posts. Like she probably I didn't know this, but she probably had the interview and she started engaging with my stuff or whatever. But she was also putting out some very interesting stuff about like just motivating energy and this, that, et cetera. And that just she made a post about something about, oh, when I'm talking to people, I'm asking them what sports do you play or whatever. As soon as I read that, I messaged her right away. I was like, so hey Julie, what sports do you play, et cetera, whatever. I'm like, and I messaged her. I was like, hey, you have really good energy, so kudos. And then she asked me, she's like, hey Saad, what is it like working at Dooley? I do a lot of interviews. I talk to a lot of people who are interested in working at Dooley. Whenever somebody asked me that, I was like, okay, wait, hold on. I was like, are you interviewing here? I was like, have you already started interviewing here? What's going on? Because like I did the math in my head. You started engaging with me within a week, and now this question, I'm like, something's going on over here. And she just goes, oh, you'll know Thursday. I'm like, wait, no, we don't play this game. I'm like, if you're interviewing, just tell me so I can move things along, because I was gonna offer you to interview anyways. So if that answers anything, then yeah, she's like,
how awesome is that? Josh, are you interviewing somewhere at Dooley? You got Saad hooked.
No, honestly, Julie couldn't handle like the energy of.
I'm just gonna walk myself out of the screen for that. No, I was using the bin. I was actually.
All right, so Nick, why don't you recap us? What have you learned today? What have you loved hearing, and what can Saad do better with his hair?
His hair is on point. I'm like, I was admiring it the entire time. I'm like sitting here. And something I really love about this group, I love how we all play with each other, but I love how everybody is a champion for everybody else. And the compliments are free flowing and genuine. And I really appreciate that about all of you. So appreciation is such a powerful thing. Something Sarah said that I really liked, and I think to me this kind of ties up everything that we were talking about today with coaching, mentoring, self-development, how do you filter out the noise and choose who to listen to? And when she said that you ask the people who you trust where you should be spending your focus, that to me was the perfect encapsulation of what we were trying to share with people today.
Love it.
Hey.
That was
Great
so
point.
sweet. That was so warm.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, happy Easter to everybody, or non-Easter if you don't celebrate Easter.
Passover. There's a Hindu holiday this weekend. What else do we have? There's a lot of holidays this weekend.
Ramadan is going on, but
Yeah.
Eid is down
Ramadan,
the corner.
yes.
Yeah. But hey.
Awesome. All
So
right.
have a great weekend, everyone. Thanks for joining us, and from
Yes.
all of us here.
Just have fun.